All right. I'm getting better in some ways and worse in others at this. But a couple of last minute problems. And guys, I'm back. This is Ken's Comics, and I'm ready to go. Hello, welcome back. This is Ken talking to you live from the basement of Ken. You may recognize the basement from such places as my last couple of live streams and this big Hulk behind me. Welcome, friends. I'm going to check out the comments. I promised to watch the comments this time. Last time, Facebook was having trouble posting, so I didn't see a lot of you, unfortunately. But if you're watching me now, I'm going to type here, hi, I'm in the building. Okay, so why am I doing this? Well, it's been a crazy year for most of us, and I like a lot of you, have been stuck in the house more than normal. And as much of an introvert as I am, I miss dealing with people, interacting with people, talking to people. So, my friend Ted, my man from TED Talks, Ted Davies, awesome guy. Um, he did an interview with me about a month or so ago, and I really had a good time doing it. And it gave me an idea to start putting things out there that I'm doing, which I've been doing mostly at home in isolation. So some of these live drawing things I miss doing in person, and usually I would do with you guys at the comic book store or hit a convention or something. This seems like a way that I can get more interaction, or at least get out there with people. Talk about what I'm doing, what's going on in the world, show you a little bit of what I do in my drawings, and maybe take a question or two now and then. Hello, Emily. Emily is live. All right. I want to thank Emily for my dope haircut. She gave me a trim yesterday. She's 13. It's her first time using the clippers, and I'm pretty impressed. Um, I'm pretty proud of her for that. So thank you for hooking me up right before we go on. Last time I did some drawings of the Hulk because I love the Hulk. Whoops, want to add this to the stream. There we go. Looking for me, man. So in typical live TV fashion, I know, not TV. Right before I went on, I came down to the basement to set up and make sure everything worked. And it was very, very early, luckily, because I heard a water leak in the basement, and I'm sorry, my ears. And so I had to real quick get a wrench, and of course, you can never find a wrench when you need one. So I ended at the hardware store and pick up a wrench to fit the fitting, and luckily, it was just loose and tightened it up. But man, I almost did this in the rain because water was spewing everywhere, and that would have been really fun for me. But I don't feel like doing a flash dance thing or having my paper get all wet while I'm drawing. So look at that. That's my hand. And then camera sets up and stuff. Now, I was gonna do this on Saturday, but uh, things kept getting moved around, and we have a busy week planned for all of us. I'm doing another live stream with Mike from Angel's Blood, which we were going to do today. So moving that, I decided to do this now so that I at least got it out there for you guys. And hopefully, a lot of you asked for to know when I was coming up next. Hoping that you could catch it. So tried to put it out there a little bit ahead of time. I know it's not a lot of notice though. The good news is if you leave comments in the comments section, I will if I don't catch you live, I'll look at them later, and I'll do another stream next week, early in the week, maybe Monday, so that if you have questions or something you want to ask or know, or just maybe you got a request, you want to watch me do a live stream thing, or do my maybe you want to request a Garfield, request something drawing that I want to draw. If we're here, okay. Can't see any comments, and I'm hoping that means that there's just nobody commenting, because the last time Facebook just wasn't putting comments in. I see Emily's comments, and that's about it. And that don't think is in private chat. All right, so last time I did some drawing, and that was kind of fun. I'm going to do a different kind of drawing today. Show you a little something else about what I do. A lot of people, when they see me drawing, ask what I'm doing with the blue. If you're a comic person, you probably know. If you don't, I'm going to explain a little bit today. So, just for fun, I'm going to do a Hulk because I'm Ken and I like the Hulk. Oh, good. That's my camera's shaking. Sooner or later, I'll figure out a stable rig for this camera. I tried something different because last time it fell totally apart, and that didn't do me very well because it made me late for my stream. Okay, let's just do a super quick Hulk sketch. I'm gonna do this even more rough than usual because I'm gonna show you a little bit about inking. The reason I use blue is because um, certain shades of blue don't show up when you photograph them or reproduce them in black and white. So when I take a drawing like this and I scan it in black and white, it will not pick up the blue. So I can get just the clean black lines after I'm done without having to erase all these pencil lines. And that's just simpler and easier for me. There's so much of this kind of stuff that wasn't available to learn. I had to pick it up as I went. I learned how to transfer things and to make them blue lines from regular pencils, say color them in Photoshop or recolor them. There's a million ways to do it. Everybody's got their own thing. So I also noticed last time I need better lighting because my pencil drawings didn't show up as clearly as I wanted. And again, I've got that distortion because I'm looking at this end angle. So let's make his face shorter. Cool. After last week talking about like why do I like comics or why do I do comics, I want to just get into a little bit of the how I do comics. I have a couple of other ideas for later. If you have any ideas, if I have anybody watching this that cares and wants to know something that they don't already know about the making of comics, which I've been doing for over a decade now. Actually, I've been drawing forever, but I've been literally making comics, publishing them, working for publishers, putting comics out in the world, that you can see, buy, and view. So, been really making comics for, well, about 13 years, really, because Emily was, when I really started getting serious, Emily was not yet born. Emily just turned 13. So, when I use the blue there, I get a rough outline. I can do it even rougher or more detailed. And it depends on if I'm doing my own inks, I don't put a lot of detail in because I can do detail with the paint, the inks. If I'm doing it to work with somebody, I'll do a more detailed pencil drawing because I want them to have as much information as possible. As an inker myself, I like a little bit of leeway in my pencils, and it just depends on what collaborative relationship you have. Like I worked with Zach Bassett on my first book, From Blood, with Cosmic Times, and it was a great relationship. He had great pencils. He left some things to the imagination that let me fill in, which I loved. I loved having that freedom. And a lot of people, if you don't work in comics, you don't even know that there are two separate steps: penciling and inking. You just think like one guy draws it, and maybe some guys do. For every artist, man, there's a different style um, of work. For example, I'm using brush tip pens, disposable ones. I'm not a big fan of ink and quill and dipping. So there's a bunch of different brands I'm not going to get into here of that, but you can buy out literally 100 different brush tip pens, felt or otherwise, that will mimic the the way a brush or paintbrush or a quill, like a calligraphy pen, a lot of artists will use, will mimic the same lines. So what I'm doing is going over my blue with black ink, and this is where you really refine the drawing. Anybody seen the movie Chasing Amy, Kevin Smith's old 90s drama, comedy. I think it's a little bit of both. I love that movie mostly because it's about a pair of indie comic book artists, and one guy gets called a tracer at a convention, the inker. And if you're watching this, hopefully you know inking is not tracing, and tracing is not inking. Yeah, I'm going over the lines, but I'm not just tracing them. I'm giving them depth. I'm adding uh, nuance and shading, and only then is the drawing complete, as Jason Lee would say. So with these kind of pens, you can use make thicker lines by pushing harder, going over it a couple times. And I don't usually use one. In fact, I have this here. Like y'all don't know. I almost never draw with less than 4 pens of different sizes at my disposal because for the hair I want a little bit of a line like this, and for fine detail I want a very small line. Um, and I like to just surround myself with a bunch of different ones. I have a lot of options, and I think most artists I've seen do that. They have different tools right at the ready. Their workspaces full of them. You got rulers and pens and pencils, erasers. But again, what I like about using the blue lines is I don't need an eraser. What I found, no matter what kind of ink I tried to use, almost invariably I ended up losing some blackness, some quality of the richness of the inks when I had to erase the lines. I found it difficult to remove the lines digitally when they were, at least when they were gray pencil lines. And again, I'm no pro. I'm sure there are other guys out there that are much more technically savvy than I am that can do that. All of the stuff that I'm doing, I have been self-taught. So going with a thicker brush here, it's a felt that works more like a paintbrush. You can start with a small line, make a bunch of different things, make them thicker, make them thinner. When I want some shadow real quick, that works really well. Um, gives you a lot of options for drawing. I like to put a little bit in the hair. And again, this is my technique. These are my ways. Not the same for everybody. Not claiming to be an expert. Just showing you what Ken do. Because Ken draws comics. Hence the name Ken's Comics. Now, when I have more time, I do a lot more. In fact, I draw the Hulk literally for fun. I mean, it's kind of my happy place. We talked last time about how much I like the Hulk and why I like the Hulk. And so when I need to relax or I need to just warm up, anyone ever seen an artist post a warm up sketch? Because sometimes just to get in the groove, it's almost like exercising. You got to just warm up. I'm a big fan of cross hatching, and I'm doing some really, really rough, shabby cross hatching right now. Because to get it on camera, I'm drawing at a funky angle still. But cross hatching is pretty much what it sounds like, just going a bunch of lines parallel to each other and then crossing them to create different shadows. So then you can go at a different angle, go over it a third time or a fourth time. I don't know if you can tell it's there, but the more you go over it, the more gradation you get. And that's one of the things I love about lines, about working in black and white. If it were up to me, I would do all my comics in black and white. Forget color. And that's not just because I'm a lazy colorist. I'm not. For anybody that's out there looking at my books or wanting to hire me, I'm an awesome colorist. Most hardworking guy in the business. But for me, I just love black and white. I think it looks cool and crisp, and it gives you a million options. I'm gonna go back to a middle of the road brush. It's kind of a felt tip. It's not as thick as the other one, but it still gives me the choice to. I'm screwing up the Hulk here, just so you know. This line here is just to show you what a brush can do, not to make a squiggly in front of the Hulk. There aren't, for me, I don't. there are a lot of indie comics that do black and white, and some of that's for cost reasons. I mean, when you're making an indie comic, black and white is cheaper to produce in color. But me, I like to do it for style reasons. Even when we did the first Angel's Blood Kickstarter, and we were fully funded, we were debating whether or not to do a color version, but we ultimately decided that the book still needed to be black and white. It's rough, it's edgy, it's dark. So what we did add color, and it costs the same whether you print one color or full color, but we went with just a blood red edition. And I went back to every page because we had the funds to do it in color. And I went back and re-edited, made a second version of the book that has now got the splashes of blood. So everywhere that it made sense for there to be blood or be dark or to be gross. A couple of places just for design reasons, but I ended up being able to go back and just add red. So it kind of made the thing pop. Anyone ever see Sin City? Sin City was not just a movie, but it was a graphic novel, and it was black and white, but it used color sparingly and very dramatically. So my favorite things is to use your tools. Some artists are amazing colorists, and if that's your strength, man, go for that. And if the story calls for that, man, go for that. Hey, Rebecca, I do have comments. All right, man. It's so good to see you. Been a minute. I'm gonna say hello. I love hearing that people have the stupid little goofy. I mean, stupid. I don't mean stupid. But I do a lot of doodles and stuff. I have friends and family who got like napkins. I did a sketch on or something for them, and it really kind of bumps my ego up a little bit to hear that people save that stuff because it's literally just a whim for me. But at the same time, I save every scrap of paper that I sketch anything on. I have way too much stuff. Sorry, my wife that doesn't like me keeping so much clutter, but I do the same thing with my daughter. Like, I don't like to throw away any art because somehow that's a moment in time. To me, that's a piece of who you were when you were creating it. Like, if you watch Bob Ross, I can feel Bob Ross in those paintings, even just the silly generic landscapes. Because you go through that moment, and I think that's just something that feels good to me, so I hold on to that. All right, I'm stopping with the Hulk here because I'm just doodling and playing. So, back to point. If we use blue, then when I scan this, you're not going to see any blue. You're just going to see, like, even from here, you can kind of see it's just black. And that's what makes a print-ready comic. So your comic book comes out crisp and clean and print-ready. Now, that's not always depending on your style, man. Sin City was a rough, sketchy, dark, black and white, shadowy kind of book, and that worked for that story. The story they were telling in Sin City made absolute sense for it to be rough and edgy and not clean and polished. Now, when you would buy a Superman comic, by comparison, you'll have cleaner, smoother lines. Marvel and DC, the big companies tend to make their art pretty, like this Hulk behind me. Let's get rid of this for a moment and show you. I'm trying to just point out that I'm backwards. That the lines here are mostly smooth. There's a little bit of hatching here, but for the most part, especially because this is for print and wanting to be reproduced and used, they make it very clean, and that's cool. I'm going to move that, and that's cool. And like I said, everything depends on what the style is that your story needs. And for me, it's all about storytelling. If you're telling the right story, then just tell it the way it needs to be told. I did some graphics for a soap company called the Sudsies, and they were cute and smooth and clean. Nothing like my darker stuff for Angel's Blood. For example, I'm gonna throw something else up here for fun. Wonder if anybody has seen it. Playing with this program. Forgive me while I mess around. I don't have a producer. I could use a producer. I'm gonna throw a quick video up here and show you the difference of this one that needs a rough style. That's embarrassing. So that's something that's edgy, dark, and example of how I used red just to show blood. Everything else is dark and gray. In reality, the color of Golgoth is going to be like a burnt brown. He's from hell, so his skin is dark and kind of reddish burnt. But for the book, man, black and white tells the story so much better. I did a couple of years ago a children's book. So those are both my art, both my styles. But I changed it to suit the story. That second one, Run, was a book by Dark Recess Press and my friend Vince Churchill, and it's a children's book, so it needed to be simple and clean and cartoony, and that's I found that even harder to draw than the rough gritty stuff because that's where my wheelhouse is, man. That's what I do for fun. I uh, I look uncomfortable because I am comfortable. It's time to get a better chair for this. I'm gonna add split screen again. Hey, that's whoa. Okay, so I was playing with some of the graphic settings in this, and that's why I have this funky background. Let's do this. Um, that is the Sky Princess for a new project I'm working on with Earth Team Green. It's just a sample. There's a girl who loses her voice, and she's in a singing competition. Let's do that. All right. So this is Jada. She is going to be the Sky Princess, and I'm working on that book now with Arlie Owens and Earth Team Green. It's the latest in a series of teen and kid friendly, family friendly superhero comics geared toward saving the planet. A little bit like Captain Planet meets X-Men, I think, only with a strong, like 14-year-old hero lead. And this girl's a singer. Uh, Spoiler alert: they're trying to stop aliens from terraforming the planet. Hence the climate control aspect of it and stuff, which is really fun because I got to draw Greta Thunberg. She's in it just for a moment because she's part of the whole climate change conversation. So this just came up because I really like this image for the broken notes. That's just my logo. What else I got? Hey, look at this. I got Angel's Blood. This is a book I'm working on. Next month, we're coming out with another Kickstarter. That's really we're working really hard to make this one even better than the last one. The last one went really well, and it's just been a while since we've gotten to do another one. We're indie creators on this one. It's not something that we're doing for money or paid to. This is our project, Mike and me, and continuing that story has been something we've been trying to do for a long, long time. But as it goes, life gets in the way. This I wanted to show you. This is a really cool pinup that my man Mohammed Lubis did for the new book. He did a pinup for the last one. I asked him real nicely and hired him to do one for this. And man, the guy is amazing. So I'm gonna hide from it here because I love looking at this. He's got a really a gift for black and white as well. He's got raw, solid blacks. So shout out to my friend Mohammed. Uh, Follow him on social media. Let me put up his social media here. He's on Instagram mostly. Mohammed Lubis on Facebook, but this is lubisan.art on Instagram. And if you follow him, man, you're going to see some amazing stuff, some of which I'm involved with, some of which just his. We're working on the new issue of Global Defense Force together. I just joined the team as a letterer, and he's doing the main art. There's a lot of talented people working on that book. Let's get back to my point, though, and back to my comments. Hanging the mermaid in your daughter's playroom. Oh man, that's really nice. I love to hear that. I love to hear that because I think the thing that any creator wants is just for his work to reach somebody. And I'm with StreamYard. Let's fix that. Okay. Because like I talked about before, and see, I'm going to repeat myself from last time, but not everybody watched the last video, so bear with me a moment because one of the reasons I want to do this is to put myself out there, let people know why I do what I do. And when I was a kid, art reached me. comic books in particular reached me. They touched me. They gave me something to focus on at a time when I was really let's change that. At a time when I was really isolated. Every kid thinks that they're the only one sitting at home going through stuff or getting bullied at school or something. And at home, I would just sit and draw. That would be my downtime, um, my therapy, and it meant a lot to me. Let's do a bunch of these banners. I'm playing with these settings now. So it's thank you anyway, Rebecca. It's really nice to hear that someone um, likes something I've done and cares enough to put it out there. Let's get rid of these banners now. I'm gonna go with none. Yeah, this is why people have producers. All right, team. I'm going to draw something else now. I did Garfield last time. I did a couple of Hulks and a Spider-Man. Speaking of Joker, let's play with the Joker a little bit. Just because I have no ideas. I don't know what is in my head about the Joker too, that I have a particular style of Joker that I like, and I'm not sure where it came from. Everybody draws the Joker differently. I'm a fan of most every form of Joker I've seen, but I didn't want to draw like Heath Ledger Joker, or I didn't want to draw the classic Cesar Romero Joker. I do, however, need to give him the huge smiling teeth, like a comically huge smiling teeth. I just feel like that more than anything screams Joker. He's got this mangled kind of a smile, Jack Nicholson style. It's permanent. Haven't seen the new Batman or the new Justice League. I have started it 3 times, but man, it's 4 hours long, and I didn't watch the first one to begin with, so I don't know if I should go back and watch it to compare, or if I really have like 7 hours of my life to devote to a movie that doesn't have the Hulk in it. But that's just me. Man, some friends swear by it, like the Justice League is the second coming, and other people are like Justice League is crap. I remember when I was younger, it was definitely Marvel versus DC for me too. But the older I got, the more I realized, man, I love comics. I love comics. What's good for one brand of comics is ultimately, I think, good for others because, I mean, if comic movies do well, they get to make more comic movies, and some of them might suck. Some of them don't pan out. Sure, good for them, but a lot of them do. People still love them, and maybe you didn't like Ant-Man, but yeah, they used it to build on it and make more stories for the Avengers, and ultimately somehow Ant-Man became kind of cool, at least to me. And I don't know how that happened because to me is one of the dumbest characters ever. So when I do a Joker, anyway, I'm not sure why, but I like to do a short hair Joker with really crazy, wispy, curly hair on top, almost Medusa style, and I don't remember why. Like I know why I draw the Hulk the way I do. I know what my influences were for the Hulk. The Joker, I think he's just got to have crazy green hair, almost like, and I would blame this, but it predates Ninja Warrior. But if anyone watches American Ninja Warrior, Jamie Hahn goes on as Captain NBC, and he, great athlete, rocks the course, but he does dyes his hair green, and he's got this funky curly hair, and that's sort of what my Joker always ends up looking like: short hair in the back, cropped a little bit, and then just wild and curly and crazy on top. He's got to be always got to have angry arched eyebrows too. Again, comically arched eyebrows. But he's kind of a clown, so I imagine that might be just makeup. did one of these for a tattoo for somebody once. I was really excited. It's always kind of weird and fun to have someone put your artwork on their body. And again, I'm going to show you real quick just how to do a little bit of inking here. I'm using a middle-sized felt tip brush. I'm going to scribble. My goodness, Rebecca, how old is your daughter now? Mine just turned 13, and that's like time just flies. As a parent, man, it's another reason I'm doing what I do. And when my wife got pregnant, and it just happened to be at a time when I was learning a lot more, it made me think, dude, I'm about to have a kid. What am I doing with my life? And what am I going to teach her or him at the time? I mean, even when I first started doing comics and getting serious about it, I didn't know if we were having a boy or a girl, but I had been making comics and doing it at home just for fun and submitting them and sending them out, sending my stuff out to publishers and getting rejected, sending them out, getting rejected. And man, when we found out we were having a kid, I got like, man, I really, what am I going to teach her? Am I going to sit at home and can I tell her honestly to follow her dreams if I don't follow mine? Can I set an example that is going to make me a hypocrite or just lip service? And ultimately, we had a publisher, lost a publisher, and technology was just catching up to where it was becoming available, um, that there were just self-publishing options all over the place. And I decided, man, okay, I'm going to keep looking for a publisher. I'm going to keep trying to get work in comics. And ultimately I did. And I'm proud of that. But even when I don't now have a gig because I'm a freelancer, one of the reasons I do what I do is because I love it and I have to. But a big reason for me is setting an example. I tell my kid now all the time, and I make sure that she can have as many opportunities to follow her passions as possible. Promised we wouldn't be starving, but so sometimes I got to have a regular job to pay the bills. But I don't give up. I keep making comics. I keep drawing. I keep working on improving my craft, getting better at it. So anyway, rough little kind of a joker. I'm gonna stop with that for just a bit. We are a half hour in. All right, you guys. I'm reading comments again real quick. Seeing Emily, thanks again. I don't want to totally turn this into a crazy self-promotion, but Sunday night we're doing another live stream chat with my buddy Mike, who is the writer for Angel's Blood. I'm going to throw that up here again because that's a project that's really near and dear to my heart. We recently started a new label for it, and that's going to be called Punk Comics. Putting that up in the corner. Putting it up right here. Boom! All right, that's the story behind that is that my man Mike calls me punk all the time in a friendly way, like, what up, punk? And I was just like, dude, if we're gonna do something together and brand it for just us, why don't we call it that? Because what we're doing, I'm promoting myself and I'm promoting my own comics, but Mike and I are doing something that's connected but separate or different. And I really wanted to make it interesting and special. And that gave us something to focus on. That's us. It's uniquely us. We have some more books planned down the road, and what we're doing is we're launching Kickstarters to fund those until maybe someday some big publisher decides that our work is so awesome that they just got to hire us. But if they don't, that's cool because you know what? We keep doing it. Why? Because we got to. Lin-Manuel Miranda said, "Don't go into theater unless you can't do anything else." And what I took from that was to mean you just need to do theater. My daughter's like that. She needs to do theater. Like she loves it. She has a passion for it. She's good at math. She's good at science. She's good at lots of other things, and ultimately may or may not, be a career. But she does theater because that's what she loves. Her heart is on the stage. My heart is on the page. Hey, that rhymed. And I don't even think I'm a writer. So anyway, back to point. We're going to be. Ooh, you have an 18 months. Congratulations. Man, we stopped at one. My 13-year-old is enough. God bless you. If you're watching, Emily, you're enough. So Sunday night, Mike and I are going to do another live chat. We're going to take some questions. I have some questions I'm going to ask him because I'm still interested in where we're going with the project. And I think that's a good way to let people know what we're doing ahead of time. Let us know and why we're doing it. And what I hope is that the journey appeals to some people, that maybe reaches some people. I know there are a ton. I joined a community recently called Comics Launch, and I'm finding more and more people like myself who are just trying to do what they love and keep doing it. I don't need to make $1 million at this. And if I had $1 million, I would still be doing exactly what I'm doing. I would just have a nicer basement if I did. But so, man, I'm going to draw till the day I die. And I'm the kind of guy that likes to tell stories. So I'm going to keep drawing sequential comics. I have friends that are pinup artists. They like to draw just cool pictures, and I love that. And that's their strength. I have other people who are just amazing at photorealism or cartoons. Lord, if you're not following Jay Fosgate, check out Jay Fosgate. Easily the best cartoonist in the business. And he's from Michigan. And I love the guy. I'm proud of him. Look him up on social media. I don't have that handy, but um, everybody's got a different talent. And I'm finding that instead of waiting until I'm better at everything, I'm just going to keep doing what I do best and put it out there. So for me, that means making comics. I'm not going to draw anymore. Hoping that I see everybody later. Um, I'm going to check the comments again and do another video maybe Monday. Or if you want to catch us on Sunday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Mike and I will be on talking about the new Angel's Blood and what it's like to be an indie creator in our field. And maybe have a surprise guest talking about some of the collaborators we worked with, because doing it by ourselves is fun, but I love working with other people. So people like Muhammad or my man Adam, we both worked with different people, and collaborating, putting your arts together is something that's fun. Like Mike's a writer and I'm an artist, but when we come together, we both create something that neither of us could have done by ourselves. So thank you for your time. Appreciate you putting up with my technical difficulties. Anybody has any questions, hit me up now, later, any other time. Got my email down at the bottom. My Twitter and Instagram are the same. It's at Ken Leinaar. You guys have a great weekend. I appreciate you. Stay safe because these are troubling times, guys. And I hope to see everybody at the end of the pandemic. Take care.